Coach, talk real quick. Good four-game series. Cougs took the last three, take 3 out of 4, heading into conference play. I feel pretty good about that.
I think anytime you can win a series, that is a good thing. And we didn't start out great on Thursday night. I felt like we got very good pitching, competed at the plate, but had some mishaps. But I think our kids responded very, very well to a very good pitching staff that Northeastern has. Their Friday and Saturday and Sunday guys, I think, are quality pitchers that could really pitch anywhere. And it's nice to see our offense kind of click. We did some things that we've been trying to connect, for the last, 10 games, and we finally reaped the rewards of executing a bunt and putting some different things into action. So it's good to see those things come together. We had some good relief performances. Ryan Walker did a good job. I felt Trenton Dupree did a really good job coming out of the pen. Didn't, get what he wanted, but I felt like he came out and did a good job. So all in all, a good weekend, especially with, we didn't have a 4-hole hitter with Patch McGrath and Mason Cirillo are still out. Hopeful, but thought our kids grinded very well, and they competed, and we won a series.
Talk a little bit about your pitching. I mean, you knew what you were going to get out of Ian Hamilton. You've seen more and more of that each week. But then talk a little about Ian's progress each start, and then also your other two freshman starters, Ryan Ward and Parker McFadden.
Well, Ian has continued to come out and give us his best stuff, and he trains well, he practices hard, he pays attention to detail, he prepares himself to beat the best team, in the country every week, and so feel good about where he's going with his progress, being able to land a fastball on both sides of the plate, being able to throw a breaking ball and a change when he wants. He's done a good job. Then you look at Ryan Ward and Parker McFadden, both had the best outings since they've been a Cougar, and gave up a run early, both of them, but came back and competed well, and that's what we're looking for. And again, anytime they could, every time they touch the ball and have a chance to get better and perfect their pitches and hit spots, it's only good for the Cougars.
And then your thoughts going down to UCLA to open Pac-12 play. UCLA just took a series from Texas, and UCLA is always tough.
They're one of the best teams in the Pac-12. They're one of the best teams in the country. They've got Grant Dyer's back pitching again, and so that'll be another arm to add to their arsenal. They've been playing well. They've got a couple kids that are good players. Court Peterson's a very good player. Is really coming to his own at the plate. Probably the best hitter as of right now, and they've pitched well for a lot of years. They've been functional on offense, and I know John Savage is going to have them ready for Pac-12 play.
All right, guys. Any questions on the line for Coach Lees?
This is Chaz here with Radio. Hey, Bobby, can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead,
Hey,
Matt.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good, Chaz. How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, what do you like most? What's the best attribute of the freshman arms on the staff, the two starters that are freshmen? What do you think is the best part for each of them for how they started off here?
Well, they've just gotten better each week. You look at neither one of them, Ward or McFadden, had a fall to speak of because they were injured with, one had a knee cleaned up, the other one had a hamstring that had to be sewn back together. And they're very poised kids, very competitive. They believe they are good, and they expect every time they go to the mound that they're going to win. One of the kids that we haven't talked about yet, but Riley Wydell is somebody that the left-hander threw on Sunday, is somebody we really believe is going to be similar to McFadden and Ward. He just needs more touches, and he showed on Sunday that it is in there. So really like the direction of all three of those kids and what they're doing, and they're not only the future, but they're now. And so they get better every time they go out, and they get more confident, which brings more confidence to all of our team.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Lou right here with Coug fan.
Hey, Lou.
Offensively, good morning. Offensively, your team ranks in the top 5 in just about every category in the conference. And that's a pretty dramatic improvement over last season. Is that something you anticipated from this roster?
Well, I didn't really know what to expect, until we started playing. I think we're actually still, a little bit in construction of what we'd like to see, but the parts are there. We're trying to play with the speed that we have, and thus far we're doing that. And we've had some kids really come out. Patrick McGrath he's been out for a couple weeks, but he's been a very nice surprise. If I look at his stats from last year and just his previous 3 years, they're probably not stats that he, that you want and that he's very proud of. But we look at where he's at right now and how he competes at the plate, and I don't know. I talk to our kids on a regular basis that sometimes it just takes time. I think it's been in there for a long time with Patrick, and for whatever reason, maybe it's maturity, maybe it's a different language, maybe he's a senior and just ready to do something good. Whatever reason it is, he's in a good spot and with what he's doing. And Trek didn't play last year, but he's a really good leadoff hitter. He's on base a lot. I think he's on base like over 450. And so when you've got a kid who's on base that much and has a chance to use his legs, that's a good thing. And Derek Chapman is probably Derek didn't bunt much prior to this year. I think he had maybe 4 bunts all last year. And so we're trying to use his speed, trying to shrink that field a little bit to make it bigger because he has the ability to hit and use those legs, and he also has the ability to bunt and help us, create an offense. Dugan Shire's been a very good surprise. Didn't know we were going to get out of Dugan, coming from a junior college, and had a good fall. Didn't start out the year great, but the more time that he's got and the more pitches that he's faced, he's starting to bring something to the table that is good. And so, the offense is, like I said, I think it's still in construction, but I feel like we're scoring people at a high rate from second and third when they're there, and we've had a couple mishaps with bases loaded and no outs, kind of weird, tough breaks, but we're getting there. And prior to this weekend, I look at Thursday night, for example, we've done a really good job of getting kids in the position, first and second, no outs, second and third, 1 out. And that's the time you need to cash in. We need to, they're already there. And so it's time to see the ball in the strike zone and not trying to score the guy, but trying to, look at a pitch that you can do something with, that you can drive.
And following up on that, Coach, you and your staff are new to Pullman, and you've got a lot of new players too. How would you characterize the confidence now as you're heading into conference play of the team?
Well, I think this weekend, gave us a kind of a good shot in the arm. If we're really playing, up to this point, this is the best baseball we've played, and connecting it all. We actually made some really good defensive plays this weekend too that I think are good strides for our kids. But that's all you can ask when you go through a preseason, and you've got a new coach. You've maybe the style's different. I don't know, but you'd maybe have to ask them. But we're playing as good as we can going into a really good Pac-10, Pac-12 schedule, playing against UCLA.
Sounds good, Coach. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Your Pac-12 network, looking forward to seeing you down in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Back from Pac-12.
Thank you.
I'm curious, when you arrived, what conversations did you have with Ian as the league's best closer
Well, Ian was probably, he was the first player that I connected with when I got here, and it was, the conversation really took about 5 minutes. And he was, in the Cape Cod at that time. He was with a really good pitching coach that Coach Spencer and I know, and we looked at the roster, looked at the stats, felt like it would be at our best interest and his best interest to at least take a look at him being a starter. And he trains very hard. He's got the stuff that you want on a Friday night to compete with people in this league. And it wasn't, as far as any convincing, Ian would do whatever our staff thought is best for our team. But we thought it was best for our team, and he had the summer to work on and perfect some pitches, and then had the fall. You really need time if you're going to train to be a starter to make sure that you have at least a 3-pitch arsenal, and he has been able to do that.
And then I'm curious the backstory on Justin. I know he had a major league or a minor league option, I guess I should say, and is from Oregon, has an Oregon State offer. How did he wind up in Pullman when your staff took over?
Well, Justin was actually already committed and signed to a letter of intent when we got here. And so as far as, how those conversations went and where he was recruited and, that type of thing, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but, we feel like he has a good future here in this program. Like a lot of kids, sometimes it takes time, but he knows our investment in him, and he works. He wants to be not a good player. He wants to be a great player. And we're kind of playing him a little bit out of position right now due to the kids that we have available. But he hasn't thought one thing about it. He's willing to do whatever it takes. We still work him out over on the left side of the infield. We believe that can be a spot that he bunkers down at. But, for right now, we need him to play first base with the injuries and personnel that we have.
And then last one for me, obviously you inherit the vast majority of this roster like you just kind of described. But in terms of base running and speed and being aggressive on the base paths, is that the style that long-term you see for this program?
Absolutely. We envision a style that is very fast. We want the ability to hit a home run. We're going to recruit those kids in the lineup, and we have some. They're in the lineup right now. But the athletic kid that has the option to hit a double or drop down a bunt or steal a bag, I think that those are the key ingredients to a championship team. I don't think that you can have a bunch of kids who can just hit for power. I don't think you can have a bunch of kids that can just run, but there's got to be a combination because, as you know, when you get in playing the top 20 teams, 25 teams in the country, there's going to be pitchers that are absolutely very, very nasty that you're going to have to find a way other than, just hit a double to score. And so we want to be a team that has many options, and we're on the right pace. There's some players in this program right now that fit that description, some that are young that are going to get better every game and that we can for sure build off of.